Okay, I'm here in my office and I'm going to show you some of the things that I am going to use to make this unicorn sensory bin. I've kind of been batting some things around for a while, like I'm not sure. I thought, am I going to do pink rice, purple rice, rainbow rice? I don't know. So I made a decision. I'm going to make my rice green so it looks like green grass or a green meadow. And then I can use that rice with other things like farm animals, rainforest animals. I can repurpose it. I don't have to keep this together as a bin if I don't want. But I'm going to show you kind of how I dye the rice, how I choose what I'm going to put in the sensory bins. I'm going to show you two of my favorite sensory bins that I just kind of keep so I can just keep and dump. Yeah, so I'm going to show you what goes into all this. Okay, so for my unicorn sensory bin, I am going to use rice and I'm going to dye it with green liquid watercolor, and I'm going to use a little white vinegar to set the dye. So if the kids' hands get sweaty, or if they just wash their hands and then they run to the sensory bin, they won't end up with green hands. I also am going to pick some select colors of these like sparkly fuzzy pom-poms. I've got some unicorns that I got at the dollar store. I already had these little erasers of rainbows and unicorns that I got at Target a couple years ago. And I've got a big jar of these beautiful large gems that I'll put in there too. And of course, I've got my Just Sterilite shoebox size container. But what I'm going to do first is I am going to use a zipper bag, and I'm going to dye the rice with the liquid watercolor and the vinegar. And I'm going to set it out to dry on a tray while I take a walk. So I'll show you how I do that in just a minute. I'm going to take this outside. Okay, I was going to take this outside, but it is a state holiday today, and people are out there trimming their yards to mow, and it is so noisy that it's just not going to work. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to cut open this rice bag, and I'm going to pour some rice into my zipper bag. I don't need much. When I think about my sensory bin, I only want enough rice to really cover the bottom of it. So I'm going to do about half this bag. So here you have it in the zipper bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my liquid watercolor and I'm just going to squirt some in. I'm going to seal the bag up. And I'm just going to kind of mush it around and turn it around and flip it. And I'm just going to see what shade of green I get. I want it a little more green than that, I think. It's a pretty green, but I just want it a little darker. So I'm going to add a little bit more liquid watercolor. Seal it back up and mush it around for a few more seconds. It's so loud, I'm so sorry. But ooh, this is a bright, fun green. You know what? This would be so much fun for. I'm just thinking about this. If I save the rice just by itself with no other elements in it, I don't think anything I have is going to be too hard to take out if I want to. This would be really good for a St. Patrick's Day bin too. And I have never done one, so that would be super fun. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of the white vinegar. I've got a tablespoon here. I'm not going to measure out a full tablespoon. I'm just going to drizzle it over, seal it back up, and swish it around. The only thing I don't like, sorry, I had a few white grains on there. I don't want those. The only thing I don't like about the vinegar is it makes it smell like stinky feet. You can use rubbing alcohol, but then I think it smells toxic. You could also use Sea Breeze, that old facial toner from like the 1980s. I've used that before too. Okay, so right now it is a little bit wet. I'm dumping it on the tray and I'm going to spread it out a little. And it does smell a little bit like stinky feet. I don't know if you can see it, but what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to take this outside to dry and I'm going to go for a walk. And when I get home, if it's not all the way dry, I'll turn it and let it sit out for a little bit longer. But I'll be gone for, I'd say, 30 minutes to an hour on my walk. I live in a super dry climate. I am in the desert here in Utah, super close to the mountains, and it will be dry for me, I'm thinking. But if you live in a more humid climate, you might need to turn it around or spread it out a little thinner. This is even a little thicker than I want, but it's a great way just to keep it all together. So when this is dry, I will show you how it's going to look with all the elements in it. But before then, I'm going to show you some of my really cute sensory bins. I brought 2 home with me today, and I'll just show you just how fun and easy they are. Okay, this is one of my all-time favorite sensory bins. It is my winter sensory bin, and it just has white rice, so I don't color the rice. I put artificial snow. I put these crystal snowflake table scatter things in there. I put these little plastic sparkly snowflakes, some different shades of blue pom-poms, and these really cute bottle brush trees that I found online. And this is in one of my other videos, you guys. I will tag it in the end screen so you could go to that, and it has all the links for all these things. But this one, because it's got like the snow and stuff, I can't really separate the things in the bin from the rice. So I keep it in one of these little shoebox containers. And I've got this nice label on there that if you got my classroom decor stuff, you can make your own labels for stuff. Okay, so there's that one. Another one of my favorites is Tea Party Sensory. I keep this one together just because, but if I wanted, it would be super easy, you guys, for me to take these things out and use this pink rice for something else. But at the dollar store, I bought 2 of these tea sets. And I love them because you can use the little cups as scoops. There's little spoons in here. There's teapots. And then I can add other things if I want to. Usually, the only things I add, I brought a little bin of some of my favorite scoops and sensory bin things. I love these scissor scoops. These are really great for water and for sand because they've got this little sieve on both ends. And then the kids can practice using their fine motor skills to scoop up the rice and everything else. I save scoops from like protein powder, Slim Fast, coffee, things like that. And I have a bunch of these in there of different sizes. Another one of my favorite things is these giant squiggly droppers. They are great for science experiments too. This one you can tell has been chewed. I had this cute little autistic boy that was really orally fixated and loved to put everything in his mouth. And I just kind of don't want to get rid of it because he was adorable. But these are great for, you know, just using your fine motor skills. They're super fun when you're doing anything with water. Another thing that I have are just like big sand scoops. And these little things are really good for kinetic sand. They make like little balls. So you just squeeze, but they're just like another like little tweezery scoopy kind of thing. I love those. And of course, I use tweezers. I also, every once in a while, just put spatulas in there. These little spatulas I got just, I think these came with 10 or 12 in a pack, and they were super inexpensive. Here's another small size scoop that I've got. But one of my favorites to use, and I don't bring them out all the time, are these really cute little wooden scoops. I found these on Amazon, and they're like what crafters use for bath salts and things like that, potpourri, junk like that. But I really, really like these. They're tiny, so they've got to kind of really grip them. They're natural, so they're great with like that winter sensory bin. They just kind of go with that, and it just is visually appealing as well as fun to play with. So those are some things that I use, and I will show you the unicorn sensory bin. I am just going to put it in a bin altogether, so I'll show you what it looks like when it's all put together. But the great thing about that sensory bin, you guys, I am just using things I already had. I already had the sparkly pom-poms. I already had a jar of giant gems. I already had the erasers. I already had the rice and the liquid watercolor and the vinegar. The only thing that was new were the unicorns that I got at the dollar store. And I mean, you see one thing at the dollar store and you get like these great ideas, right? So I'll show you that when it's done. Okay, I went on my walk and my rice is dry. You can see my disastrous mess in here in my office. I'm gonna pour this into the shoebox container right here and add everything I want to put in the sensory bin, and I think it's gonna be amazing. Okay, here it is. Of course, in a shoebox, it's all condensed and a little bit crazy, but I've got my unicorns. I just put 2 of every color in here. So we've got the pink, purple, and the white, the little rainbow and unicorn erasers. I did gems of purple, pink, and blue. And I did the little sparkly puppies in the same colors. And when I put it in the sensory bin, just dump it in, and I can put in any scoops or anything else that I might want. But it is done and ready to go. Okay, so that is how I make my sensory bins. I just got really creative and go to the dollar store. I go to craft stores. The dollar store is the best because, you know, you can get materials cheaply and you can figure out what else that you have that you can combine with it. One of my favorite things was I just got packets of dollar store toothbrushes, and then I found a set of 4 model teeth on Amazon that were super inexpensive, and I put the teeth and the toothbrushes in with some colored rice that was blue, I think. And we just started kind of adding other things as we went along, but it was really great. The kids absolutely loved it. It was one of their favorite bins of all time. I've also taken like Tinker Toy sets, taken all the sticks out, thrown all the little bead parts in, and then made just like a big lacing bead bin. Pom-poms are another thing that's super fun, and as well, like the Tinker Toys thing, that's another non-food item. I've done little rocks and pebbles, aquarium sand you can get in lots of different colors. They also have like colored aquarium rocks, but those get a little noisy sometimes. So go to a pet store, go to the dollar store, go to the craft store. You will be able to find so many things if you just think outside of the usual box. You can make anything be a sensory bin. Race cars, you know, dinosaurs. Gosh, there's so many things, you guys, so many. So have a lot of fun with it. I hope this video's been inspirational and leads you on a path to making some amazing things for your class to experience. Thanks so much for watching.